And it says go live. Yep. And it says we are live once again.
Oh, jolly good.
Jolly good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, folks.
How is everybody doing today?
Who have we got today?
Well, we are very excited to catch this young man in between award season and Mother's Day. He is literally the inventor of the swag bag. Yeah. And the red carpet gifting lounges and the whole experience and the whole Hollywood thing. So as you can imagine, he is here, there, and everywhere. That'd be a good title for a song, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be absolutely fabulous. And so we are very lucky and very happy to introduce the founder, the Sultan of Swag, the founder of distinctiveassets.com, Mr. Lash Fary. Hello, Lash.
Hi, Lash.
So lovely to see your beautiful faces. It's been way too long.
I know.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, and by the way, before we start, Jamie Austin asked me to give you her best wishes.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe worlds collide.
She's a very successful realtor now.
Yep.
I knew that, but I have not seen or crossed paths with her probably in 20 years. So please give her a hug back. I mean, on Facebook, but not in real life.
Yeah.
A hug book. There you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks for making the time. And I was so glad when we reconnected, because obviously, you know, award season is something that it's just a brand around the world, isn't it? Whether it's Grammys or American Music Awards or the film and TV stuff. How on earth did the idea just come to you out of the blue of let's get baskets together and get brands in front of celebrities that will get them press? And did it just fall out of the sky and hit you on the head?
I wish it were all so orchestrated and that I could claim that it was some thought process. The reality is that it's back when I met you, actually. I mean, you and Martin literally built the first distinctiveassets.com back when that felt like an overwhelming feat.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten that.
I mean, it's crazy to think how much time has gone by since then. I mean, and how now, again, I felt overwhelmed by it. My business partner at the time felt overwhelmed by it. You all were able to sort of step in and make us feel so comfortable, sort of stepping into this like foray into the unknown, as you would at the time. But nonetheless, we were doing pop-ups, and this is how old I am. We were doing pop-ups before there was even a name for them. They weren't even called pop-ups. So we were having sample sales. And one of the customers who came was who introduced us to you, Laura, I think, Edmonds or Edwards, I forget her name, but she introduced us, but she used to come shop, and somebody else who came to shop was like, I'm a talent executive on the Grammys, and the talent has all this downtime. You guys have such great taste and have such interesting things. You should set something like this up backstage at the Grammys. And I don't know how any of that would work. And so my business partner and I sat and we were like, how could we make this work? Let's pitch brands to pay us for the access. Let's tell the award show they don't have to spend a dime for our resources and our time and effort putting this together. We'll tell the talent they're getting free stuff. And then maybe the media will want to cover it. And lo and behold, all that was true. And it all sort of came together, and brands, you know, wanted to do it and had a great experience. And to be completely honest and candid, I had no idea it would last. We just would have done our 26th Grammys in January if it weren't for the fires. So 26 years later, we're still doing it more or less the same. I mean, we've grown and figured out things and templatized things, but it's just continued to thrive because everybody is benefiting and everybody gets something out of it. And it's a true win-win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but didn't you have some flack in the beginning from the fans who didn't really understand? I mean, we're talking prior Facebook and, you know, pre-Instagram and pre all of this. There wasn't any social media. There was barely a Yahoo, right? 26 years ago.
That's true.
But I remember having conversations with you about how do we sort of position the pros on the original website we built in the garage on Ringe Avenue. Do you remember?
I love that garage.
Yeah, it was great. About how do you not piss off the fans thinking, well, it's just celebrities getting free stuff.
Oh, that hasn't changed. I get so many hateful messages on Instagram now, still to this day, as of last week, when we were doing all this about, and they just don't understand it. My general response is, please sign up for a marketing class at your local community college or online, because they just don't get the fact that we're not giving this to celebrities because they're poor or because they can't afford it, that this is a job. This is a marketing endeavor. This is a way for the brands to benefit. And that's who actually benefits. Yes, the celebrities get free stuff, But who's really benefiting are the brands, many of them small businesses, many of them female owned and black owned businesses. And
Yep.
these brands benefit from someone like a Timothy Chalamet or an Amy Adams or any of these amazing celebrities wearing their t-shirt, going to their resort. When Viola Davis went to the resort in Hawaii and posted pictures on Instagram, or Mark Ruffalo went to the Italian villa and posted about what a wonderful experience he had. These are all invaluable for these brands who
Oh,
can
yeah.
benefit from it. So it's a two-way street. It's marketing. You know, a lot of people also don't understand that I'm not buying these products. So I got a lot extra this year. I should have donated that money to fire relief instead of buying products for celebrities. I'm like, bitch, I didn't buy anything. Like, these products are being donated to me. I'm being paid to do it. This is my job. It's not like I'm doing this for fun. This
No.
is what I'm paid to do. This is how I earn my living. So
Yeah.
it's really just not understanding on the consumer front, like what the win-win is. So that part sadly hasn't changed.
That's
Ah,
very
you
interesting.
can't fix stupid, can you?
You can't fix stupid. There is always that.
And people also, I think, just like to complain about something. It's a lot of it is jealousy. They're like, why am I not getting it instead of Timothy Chalamet? I'm like, I don't know. Timothy also gets $20 million to be in a film. He doesn't need the $20 million, but his name has cachet. That's why we're giving these people products, not because they can't afford them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think some of the celebrities in the past, I remember seeing some press about they've got so much stuff that they then donated items in the basket either to their staff or people on the film crew, and or turned around and fell in love with the product and then continued to buy thousands of units of that product, creating jobs, right?
Yeah.
All of those things are true, and we're happy for any of them to happen. You know, we gave Megan Trainor these amazing cheese boards from Lynn and Leanna, a female-owned brand in Canada. She loved it so much. She bought hundreds for wrap gifts for her Food Network show. She was
Oh,
doing a Quaker Oats. I mean, I don't even know how much Quaker Oats paid her, but it was obviously a lot to do a commercial. And she did it from her counter at home because it was during COVID. And the board was on her counter, and she was making the Quaker snacks on the board that we had given her on Mother's Day that turned into be this huge win for the brand. So, yeah, there are all these amazing benefits that come out of it.
I think also nowadays with people may start to understand a little more because they've heard the term influencer, right? And this is basically what these celebrities are doing, but they're not charging money for it. They're getting nice stuff, but you know.
And they do charge for it. And they, you know, if they want to get a sponsored post, the brand has to pay for it. This is sort of a way around it because, like, for what we just did for the top Oscar nominees, they got a $200,000. I mean, I say gift bag, and there's 4 pieces of luggage that got rolled up to their homes or offices or whatever. So, because of the sheer volume, it's fun. You know, Jennifer Lawrence loves going through the gift bag with her mom. It's something Jennifer Love Hewitt always used to love to do with her mom while she was alive. You know, it's an experience. And as you alluded to, it's something where they can share the wealth, the bounty of being a celebrity. This is one of the known perks of being a celebrity, right? Everyone wants to give you free stuff. And you can share it with your mom, with your loved one, with your dog. We give dog treats, with your best friend, with your assistant. And we do hope that it'll sometimes be regifted. In fact, this year we gave them some gifts because of the fires that we hoped that they would regift. So, for example, from Bright Harbor, we gave them these 1-year gift cards. It's a $3,500 membership for a disaster recovery service that helps survivors deal with all the hard stuff: insurance, government assistance, vetting vendors for remediation and rebuilding. And we gave them 10 1-year vouchers that they could give to anyone in their life. They could even give them away on Instagram.
Wow.
that's wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And so that's a $35,000, well, nearly $40,000 gift because the celebrity gets one and then they get 10 more.
They made $1 million of their disaster recovery efforts available to Angelinos through our Oscar gift bags.
That's really fantastic. I mean, what a great way to pay back the town that really, you know, creates the industry, right?
100%. And we've always been about giving back. And, you know, we were doing it before people were doing it for the PR. You know, it's sort of been something we've always done, whether it's auctioning a bag, whether it's doing something like right now. I'd love to make one of these 1-year memberships available to anyone listening right now that was affected or that knows somebody who was affected. So you all can message the McCartneys here and they'll figure out how to get this to somebody. And these are completely transferable. So you'll just get a code. You can give it to somebody who was affected by the fire and they'll get over $3,500 of disaster recovery professionals helping them get through this difficult time.
Super. Oh,
That
that's
is
wonderful.
so very, very kind of you
Great.
and your client. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I think the best way to do it is that people just either here or on YouTube in the comments put a number between 1 and 1,500. We will randomly pick, because there is a Google Sheet available to the public online.
That's right.
With
yeah.
everybody's names, mostly in the industry, but 1,500 people have registered on this public Google Sheet to say, you know, name, address, what they lost, Eaton Fire, Palisades Fire, whatever. We will then randomly pick one of the numbers that one of our viewers picks in, and we'll go open that spreadsheet and go, who's number X? Boom. And that, I think that's
awesome.
The fairest way to do it, right? If somebody wants to just put in anything between 1 and 1,500, I think they're up to about 1,500 people on that list now. I think that's because then, you know, we can just randomly pick someone. But that is just, that's amazing. And, you know, Hollywood really does. I mean, most towns, cities come together, but Hollywood is such a small niche and group of people, isn't it? Really, the music industry and the film industry. It's kind of like family.
100%. And they're all so giving. Well, not all, but 99.9% are so giving and kind, as you know. And so that's what always sort of upsets me too about some of the comments about, you know, how gross it is that we're giving stuff to celebrities and it should be done for charity. I'm like, first off, I do a lot for charity myself. Second off, what these celebrities do for charity is immeasurable. I mean, look at what Jamie Lee Curtis did. $1 million check written to the week that the fires happened. And, you know, for those of us who aren't in a position to write a check, we do what we can. I made care packages. I did this partnership with Bright Harbor. But my point is that celebrities give back in so many ways that aren't seen. And so it's just such a lovely two-way street on our side.
And a lot of them, I think, they don't want their names out there. I mean, there's one person in particular, a male actor who also has a home in Italy, who does so much for charity, but he gets really pissed off when you say he's done X, Y, and Z, right?
Right. I mean, it's what the idea of charity is supposed to be about, right? Like, you can do charity without taking a picture with the big check that you did it, you know. It's really it's the fact that you want it to be done. But
have you ever had one particular celebrity that stands out in your memory that made a fuss of whatever he or she got?
I made a fuss as in a negative way?
No, in a pleasant, you know, pleasing, happy way.
Because if you wanted negative, I was going to throw Prince under the bus. But no.
Hey, we can do both. Let's do both.
Let's do both. Go on, I dare you.
In general, like I said, most people are lovely and so kind, and just so it's just a thoughtful thing, and they show their appreciation for that, which is always lovely. And I always love if I'm at a celebrity's home and I see, like, I was at Justin Timberlake's place once, and I saw his dog playing with one of the toys that was in the bag, and I saw the blender on the counter that was in the gift bag, and, you know, it's just always lovely to sort of see the gifts in action, or that the candles being burned or whatever. I remember the year that Renee Zellweger won, I was having lunch a week or so after with somebody, and worlds sort of collide, and she was like, "Oh, did you do the gift bags that Renee got?" And I'm like, "I did. Like, how would you even know that?" And she was like, "I was up at her place. We live in the same building." She's like, "Oh my gosh, you have to see what I just got." And all the products were spread out all over her bed. She was like, "Pick something that you want. Like, I got so much, I can't even use it all." And so they do get like kids on Christmas morning in terms of sort of the excitement that they receive from getting these gifts.
I know that, I mean, the reason that Angie's a Chardonnay drinker, and the reason to this day that I still buy when we go shopping Sonoma-Cutrer Chardonnay, is because Sharon Stone gifted me a case of it when I worked on a movie with her in Nashville in 1993, I guess. Yeah, 1993, 1994. And she was turned on to it because she had a gift basket with a bottle of Sonoma-Cutrer Chardonnay in it. And so the changes keeps, I mean, we're 26, 25 years later, 30 years later, we're still talking about.
And I'm still drinking it.
And still, exactly.
Well, as they say in Us Weekly, celebrities are just like us. So yes, they discover products the same way that we do, and it's sometimes in their gift bag, and it's something that they love and they want to reuse or that they want to gift. We gave these incredible pajamas that like had built-in slippers in them. And Fergie loved them and ended up ordering a bunch for, you know, her girlfriends for a slumber party. So it's just sort of a fun thing to be able to see the product, and you never really know what's going to happen, but it's like buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, now I expect the competition in luxury gift giving is pretty tremendous, is it?
I suppose. I mean, there are definitely other companies who do it.
Yeah,
As Ruth said, we were the first, and so there's always that benefit of being the
yes,
first. And I've had the pleasure of doing pretty much every award show at least once.
yeah,
Some, like the Grammys, 25 years later, I'm still doing it. Some
yeah,
who shall remain nameless, but sound a lot like MTV was enough.
yes.
And so, luckily there are plenty of award shows, and so, we've been doing it and have done it for quite some time.
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
I did write a book.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Why did I not
Yeah,
know that?
it's
excuse
actually called
me.
Fabulous Gifts, and
Oh,
it's a
okay.
gift guide. This, again, I'm so old, and this was done a while ago where there were still like print books. This was before ebooks and digital books. So Penguin published it, and it's a gift guide.
We still have print books. Don't worry.
I'm writing.
I
I'm
love print
writing
books.
my 8th book at the moment.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
prolific you are.
You should, hey, Lash, you should think about updating that yearly and then put QR codes into these people's websites. It's an
I think about things like that all the time, and then I get busy playing tennis with cute boys and don't do them.
Well,
But I would love to do that, and I would actually own fabulousgifts.com, and I've never really done anything with it. And
Oh,
I've always thought it was like a gold mine in terms of being able to partner with the right retail partner and sell some of my favorite things and make it sort of an Oprah's favorite things, but make them not
yeah,
just the luxury things, but accessible things. And that's what the book was. It was all about things that you can buy at all different price points for Mother's Day, for birthdays, for
yeah,
weddings, for
right.
Christmas, for, all the different
yeah,
gift occasions. And so it's sort of like a built-in
yeah.
way to do that. So yes,
Of course. Yeah.
let's revisit that. I'd love
Absolutely.
your brains on that.
Let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the audience is watching a business be born here.
Yeah.
Fabulousgifts.com. The domain name alone is worth thousands,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Mm.
Well, I'll sell that too.
There's nothing the man won't sell. No, a couple of years, Lash was kind enough to put Mrs. McCartney's teas propaganda in the gift baskets, discount codes and samples and things like that. And we saw a huge bump in sales the years that
good.
we were able to do that.
Last year we had a supplement company, 1MD Nutrition, and they did a liver supplement, and they did this whole mocktail kit and having people who party a lot work on repairing their livers. But they said they noticed and got press coverage, and they noticed like a huge uptick in their web traffic as well. So that's always the goal. I can't control that, and there's sort of layers of success that brands have, and a lot of that is depending on what they do. Some of these brands, as you can imagine, do nothing. They send me their product, and that's the extent of their involvement. Some are very proactive. They get themselves booked on their local TV stations and are doing press themselves, and that's what we like to see.
Well, I mean, we have a website called FYC Online, for your consideration online, which is for people who want to submit to the Grammys. And we have a gamut of artists from Edgar Winter, who, won Larkin Poe, the String Revolution, and Tommy Emmanuel. And they come to us, we build them a page, and then we help them. We give them a QR code, and we give them a URL, and they can promote it to try and get in front of the Grammy groups and all that stuff. And some of the artists just literally send us a Dropbox, and you never hear, and a PayPal, and you never hear from them again. And you just assume they're working their FYC page. And some of them they're up in your grill every 10 minutes about, hey, what hashtag should I be using? And can you retweet me? And will you at tag me in this post and whatever? It's amazing to me, sort of the difference of the spectrum of some people who they're really so into it they can't see straight, and some people are just like, I'll throw my hat in the ring, but I can't be bothered. It's amazing.
I mean, I think it's the human condition. I taught a course at FIDM, an entertainment marketing course, for a few years, and it was shocking to me, like how every semester, every quarter, as it were, it was the same. People fell into buckets. There was the average bunch, there was the below average bunch, there was the extraordinary bunch, and the extraordinary was a lot smaller group than the average, and that kind of thing. But it was very consistent. There were always the people who just wanted to do the bare minimum. There were always people who didn't even want to do that, and there were always people who were the overachievers. And I think the population is the same way.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably a fair assessment in every genre, every stripe, every business. Let's rewind back a little bit to your philanthropy, because if you go to distinctiveassets.com, there's a whole section on how do you interact with charities. What does a typical relationship with a nonprofit look like?
You know, it completely varies, and we've been doing it for so long, and we've gotten to work with so many incredible organizations. Sometimes they fall in our lap. Like this year, we really wanted to do something meaningful for the fires that wasn't like, let's donate some clothes that'll end up in a parking lot somewhere. Like I wanted it to feel meaningful, and that's why what Bright Harbor was doing. I felt like it was meaningful in sort of a democratized way, because whether you're Adrian Brody and lost your home, or whether you're a much poorer person who lost their home, like everybody can use the support of professionals who do this for a
Oh, yeah.
living, guiding you through the process. And so sometimes it's just sort of a happenstance thing, and I wanted something specific to disaster recovery. A lot of times it's through celebrities. So for example, LL Cool J has been, you know, an incredible supporter of our company and a friend for a long, long time. And through his charity Jump and Ball, we were able to sort of give back to the kids in the community where he grew up and do backpacks filled with school supplies and get
Great.
sponsors to help underwrite the event that happens at the end of every summer. And it's just like this really cool thing. And you know, it's a two-way street. Like he's such an amazing person. Like you support his organization, and then he comes and supports your Grammy gift lounge. And you know, that's sort of what I love about the give and take of celebrity run philanthropies, is that there's sort of a win-win involved in it. So a lot of the charities are that. So it just sort of varies.
Yeah, I think with celebrity run charities, they understand the branding, the marketing, the
Oh, yeah.
messaging a lot more than, you know, your old fashioned mom and pop 501c, whose hearts, God knows, are in the right place, but they don't run it like a business. They run it like a nonprofit.
Right. And they also understand, like, we work with Cheryl Lee Ralph and her Diva Foundation, which is incredible in helping people affected by HIV and sort of the stigma and getting access to healthcare and just all the different aspects of that. And I think that celebrities in particular get, oh, you're bringing these brands who are helping donate money and goods to these people. How can we give them something in return? How can we promote them on our social channel? How can we give them some love? Can I wear their item in an Instagram post? Can I tag them? What can I do? And so, you know, it's that whole cause marketing things that brands are looking for. And so making it a win-win for the brands is the way that you get money for your foundation.
Yeah.
Right. Back to LL Cool J, a friend of ours, jazz musician, lives either next door or across the street from him up in the hills. And we were up at her house shooting a video once upon a time, a music video Martin was in. And I thought I saw LL Cool J, and I came back and I said to her, "Did I just see?" She's like, "Oh yeah, he's my neighbor." She said, "He's the best guy. If he knows my husband and I are both going to be away at the same time, he'll drag our trash cans out. He'll clean them out. He'd take the trash cans back in."
Oh.
So he's LL is obviously a guy who hasn't
Thoughtful
forgotten where
person.
he's come from.
He is genuinely, whenever I'm asked this question of who is the nicest, most reputable person of integrity that I've worked with, it's always him. You know, when
Really?
Todd is his name. I can't ever
Right.
bring myself to call him Todd. He's always LL to me. But he's just that person. He is
That's nice.
such a man, such a good man.
Yeah, I mean, he's got probably staff and house staff, but he's out there dragging my friends with the trash cans around up at the top of Mulholland. You know, it's crazy.
Well, being a good neighbor, isn't it?
That shows you that he really, he's kept his roots, and obviously is if Jump and Bowl is a charity anybody wants to know any more about, please, head over there and see what you can do, because kids really are the future. One of our bigger clients, Prometric, is a huge educational company, and they have 4,600 test centers, and they do K-12, all of that stuff. And honestly, without education and a good foundation in our future children and charities like his, boy, we're headed for a brick wall.
100%. Another charity I've worked with for many, many years is PETA. And I've just always respected so much of the advocacy that they put out there for our animal friends globally. And so every year for the Oscars, for example, they have a cause that they ask the nominees to join them in. This year it was about letting monkeys swing free. And so any movie set that these nominees are on, they were asking them to petition the production companies not to use monkeys and torture them as props in the movies. So every year it's a different cause. One year it was SeaWorld was the issue. And so we were bringing and calling attention to all the animal torture that goes on at SeaWorld. And I'd done a bunch of press around it. And we, funny enough, were contacted by SeaWorld asking us to stop doing press coverage, press
Yeah.
coverage on them. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, this is PETA. They're my client. They were like, well, we could be your client. I'm like, it doesn't exactly work that way.
No.
No, yeah, no, more money in whale sandwiches for lunch isn't going to cut it, right?
Right.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I mean, but that proves the point that the message made it all the way to the top at SeaWorld, and what you and Peter were able to do with, you know, the power of influence and the power of celebrity in the word and a celebrity charity like Peter. It really does resonate. It's just still amazing to me in this world that we live in such an affluent country, and there still have to be so many charities. So many people need help. We as a nation can't just figure it out.
It's sad. There was a movie called House of Usher on Netflix this last year. I don't know if you saw it, but they're with Carla Gugino.
Yes.
And she's got the most amazing line in it. She basically plays the devil, right?
Yes.
But she's like talking at the end where she basically says, you humans are so fascinating. Like all of your problems could be fixed just with money, and you choose not to. You could literally forego making movies for 1 year and literally solve world hunger
Yep.
with that amount of money instead of going to the moon or whatever the crazy stuff is that people are doing. I think that's actually a good idea because we're going to ruin this planet and we'll need to go somewhere else. But
Whoops, too late. Yeah.
whatever the problem is, it could literally all be fixed with money. And so we have to find that money somewhere. We're obviously not going to get it through the typical or historical government channels anymore. So we really do rely on these philanthropies, whether it's celebrity backed or not. So yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
You sparked a thought there when you talked about the moon. Have you ever thought of actually when we do live on the moon? Not me personally, I'm 95 now, I'm not going there, but will there be a sort of future for award shows, do you think? Do you want to start
Oh my gosh.
planning now?
Well, I'm 95 in gay years, so I luckily will not have to worry about it.
Gay
I don't
years, gay years.
I don't necessarily think that in my lifetime there will be Grammys on the moon, but it'd be interesting to think of.
Yeah. You know what would be nice though is astronaut and like the Neil deGrasse Tyson Awards, right? If we could award and recognize people in science, technology, engineering, math, AI, astronauts, whatever.
They actually do that. There's a huge one, and it's called, I forget the name of it, but there's an award show that happens right after the Oscars or around Oscars time frame. And it's all about that. And they get amazing celebrities that come. And usually it's folks like Jessica Chastain or people who've been in superhero movies. Gal Gadot went one year. So people who are in these huge movies that rely on technology and science and AI and all these special effects will come and support it. But it's an amazing organization, and they provide funding for all of these think tanks and science projects and advancing technology.
I will definitely have to look that up because I think, again, back to kids and education, the people that we hold up as heroes, it used to be Tom Mix and John Wayne, and everybody wanted to be a cowboy, right? And then it was the Beatles and Elvis, and everyone wanted to be a pop star. And then it was the whole sport, LeBron and the sports people. I just don't see enough in society where we are holding up brainiacs like Neil deGrasse Tyson as the heroes. I wish more kids would want to go into STEM and AI and quantum computing and things like that. So
another organization you should look into if that's a passion of yours, Gina Davis has a foundation, the Gina Davis Institute. And all they do is she commissioned a multi-year study of film and TV and gender portrayals. And there were fascinating things that came out of it. One, in crowd scenes, for example, in all movies and TV shows, despite the fact that women make up more or less just over 50% of the population, they were only something like 20 to 25% females in crowd scenes in movies. And when it became a children's elementary school, let's say, it was even a smaller number. And so she started going to the studio saying, Is there any reason why the population is more or less 50-50, but the playground in your movies is 75% boys and 25% girls?
No.
And 100% every studio head was like, is that actually true? Is that what's happening? They were like, there's absolutely no reason why we can't just start casting 50% extras being female and 50% extras being male.
Right?
So
Wonderful.
seemingly small, or the same thing like before Grey's Anatomy, and before women were being portrayed as doctors, that sort of skyrocketed the interest in STEM. Or that movie with the black mathematicians in NASA that was portraying
Yes.
Yes.
that. Like
Yeah,
these things, you're all right. If you see it, you can be it, is her
Right.
tagline, Gina's tagline. If they see it, they will be it. And variations of that. So seeing these things on screen, and sometimes it's big things. I remember Will and Grace from my era. It was
Right.
a game changer for folks like my parents who didn't understand having a gay child, but somehow people of that generation felt like they knew gay people because of Will and Grace, and they were
Yeah.
fun and funny and okay. And it did so much, I think, for sort of those of us who had to come to terms with that and telling our family members we were gay or what have you. And it's the same thing with STEM.
How did you actually finally come out to your folks? What was that
Oh,
whole
wow. We're
experience? I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, it's none of my damn
No,
business.
I'm happy to talk about it. I haven't talked about it for probably 40 years, so I'm happy to
No.
revisit it. But I was out of college, so I was sort of a late bloomer in terms of coming out, and I'd moved to LA, which was my sort of coming out environment, and it's sort of a wonderful place to come out.
Sure.
A place where you're more or less celebrated for being gay, not, ostracized. And
sure.
so I'd gone home for the holidays, and I made a New Year's resolution that I would not come back to LA until I told my mom that I was gay.
And where was home?
And
Where was home? Which city?
Virginia, rural Virginia.
Okay.
So, the holidays came and went. So I was being driven back to the airport. My mom and my sister were in the car, and I was like, I still haven't done it. I didn't do it before Christmas. I didn't want to ruin my mom's Christmas. I didn't do it after Christmas because everyone's in such a great mood. I didn't want to ruin the mood. I was like, I got to find the right time. So now we're in the car to the airport. I'm like, I'm going to have to do it in the car. I have got to honor my resolution. So my mom asked me, she's like, so what are your New Year's resolutions? And I was like, oh, this is the perfect segue. I was like, well, my biggest resolution is to let everyone that I love know that I'm gay. And there was just what felt like a silence for 5 minutes. It was not, obviously, it was just a few seconds. And so she just nodded her head and she was like, well, what's another one? And
Uh,
so
Yeah.
we
Oh,
weren't going
that.
to deal
Oh,
we
that
weren't going to
again.
deal with it then. And I was like, you know what, I've had years to think about this and to think about the thing, and like I had to muster the courage. I was like, I shouldn't force her to have a reaction in this moment. I'm going to let her sit with it.
yeah.
So a couple days later she called me and she's like, well, I was thinking about what you told me in the car. I was like, yeah, and what do you think? She was like, I just want you to be happy. And
Yeah.
I
That's
love you no matter what. So I always choke up a little thinking about it because it was the reaction you always want your mother to have when you tell her something like this, but it's
sure.
the
Of
reaction
course.
that you never know you're going to get. The reality is that for
Sure.
gay people, you're always told when you come out, there's a chance that you're going to lose your family over it.
Oh,
And I was lucky that, my mom, who was always
yeah.
so special to me, and my aunts were also like the Southern aunts who loved having a gay nephew who could go shopping with them and pick out outfits, and, they could have like nice meals with and stuff. So I was very, very fortunate. And certainly not everyone in my family was that way. I haven't spoken to my brother in 40 years. And I never had a conversation with my dad about this, but my dad and I don't really talk about day-to-day life, let alone my sexuality. And so
Right.
my mom was the important one, and
Yeah.
she was amazing.
Wow. Well, your dad's probably faded out by now.
Oh, well, yeah, no, it's not that he doesn't know. Like I wrote an op-ed in the paper once when there was some Rosie O'Donnell controversy going on about, being a proud gay man, and how somebody who, has an ability to criticize love doesn't really understand love, because love can be between anybody. And so, a lot of people were talking, oh my gosh, last year's letter to the editor was so amazing. And so he certainly knows. It's just not something we talk about.
Well, and that will of course have gone a long way in Hollywood because you've been at this business. When did you start? 26 years ago? 27 years ago?
1999.
Wow. Oh, you were going to throw Prince under the bus speaking in
Oh,
1999.
is that a Prince song, 1999?
Gonna party like it's, except if you're
Oh.
Jewish, you have to sing, we're gonna party like it's 5742.
Oh, well, that doesn't have quite the same ring to it. So
No.
1 year at the Grammys, Prince was there. We had our amazing gift lounge backstage. We were told that Prince wanted to gift us his presents, but he had some conditions. We're like, well, what are the conditions? The conditions were basically we had to vacate the entire gift tent except for essential purchase personnel. No one was allowed to look him in the eye or address him directly. They had to be, any questions had to go through his handler with him. The sound had to be turned down. There could be no ambient noise. It had to be turned down to a very specific decibel level. So those were the ones that I remember. So we basically asked all of our clients, here's a list of demands. Do you want to do this? Universally, 100% of people said yes. I was like, I voted no, but everybody else voted yes. And so we did all of that. He's walking towards the tent. Everyone is about to lose their mind. And then I've got a headache. I don't want to do it. And just like kept walking by after all his demands were met. I was in an elevator actually with him once at Tiger Jam in Vegas. He had the most incredible stiletto boots on with like crystal encrusted heels. I was obsessed with them. But it was the same thing. Somebody came in and said hi to him, and he just like looked at his person, and the person had to basically relay their message through the person who was walking. You weren't allowed to address him directly. So those sorts of situations are not for me. Like I can't handle that. Like
No.
basically celebrities, it's their job and they're just people and they have
Right.
no entitlement for something like that to act that badly.
Don't leave the house or go out in disguise or cordon off a floor and buy your own elevator in the hotel for the duration that you're there. You know, it's crazy. One of our speaking of crazy neighbors 2 streets over is Roseanne Barr, who
I remember that. She was there back in the day when I used to come over there even.
right. And she lives in Texas now because America. And I was at Ralph's here, right by Lincoln and Loyola, right by Otis, by the airport once upon a time. And it was the first time I'd ever seen on US soil a lady in one of those pale blue Afghan burqa setups with, you know, that powder blue with the yashmak and the whole headdress and the whole dress and everything. And the little, you know what I'm talking about, the Afghan ladies, right? And she was right in front of me at the checkout in Ralph's. And I thought, gosh, you know, that's progressive. How the heck did she get out of Afghanistan and be allowed to be out on her own? Because I didn't see any handlers or managers or family or anything. And I looked down to see what kind of, you know, footwear she'd be wearing. And I saw sparkly flip-flops and the left foot with a rose tattoo on it. And I'm like, Roseanne Sherry Barr, is that you? And she's like, shut up. I'm having a bad hair day.
Wow.
So, you know, she didn't want to deal with being a celebrity that day. So she covered her face up and, you know, just.
Well, she should have consulted you or some other person about the consistency element of her costume.
Yeah, Ugg boots would have been, I would never have cracked, except she did give the cashier a credit card, which presumably had her name on it. So.
Hilarious.
Man, she's like, how did you know? I'm like, left foot tattoo.
Hilarious. Oh, Roseanne.
Oh man.
Hello.
Yeah, she's out there in Texas with the emphasis on out there.
That seems like a good state for her.
Yes, and no, she's very happy, and her son Jake is her podcast host, and you know they're out there doing what they believe, and that's the beauty of America. We can all get to do what we believe and say what we think, and you know,
you can if you're willing to suffer the consequences. I mean, if you look at Sophia, for example, the Oscar nominee who was what was the movie? Amelia Perez. You know, yes, you can tweet whatever you want and you can have whatever opinions you want. But unless you're an actress. If you're the president, you can. But if you're an actress, you can get canceled. You know, and she went from being an Oscar frontrunner to basically almost not being able to even attend the ceremony because she had unpopular views that she shared on Twitter. So and look at Roseanne, same thing. She suffered the consequences of her opinions. Yes, you can have them, but there's consequences.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll all turn around. Everybody will simmer down. And, you know, one of our, Diana, who is one of our lovely regulars, she posted up here, people are people and our identity is just a facet of the diamond. Love, love, love.
Oh, I love Diana.
Yeah. So that's you. That was when we were talking about, you know, you coming out to your mom and everything. And
well, that was a different era. I mean, it's
Oh,
so
yes.
crazy to think about being gay now. It's literally nothing. Like it's like if uh
right,
if kids today had to deal with what we had to deal with back then in terms of coming out. I mean, I guess the trans coming out is comparable in terms, although that's I think magnified even, but it was a whole different era. And certainly LA, I think it's a whole different vibe of acceptance and just like a loving community for the most part. So I mean, I know kids have a whole new slew of problems with social media and that pressure and
right,
competition and
yeah.
body issues and all that stuff. So we've replaced them with new and worse issues, I think.
No, and Elizabeth is agreeing. No one is better than anyone else. We're all equal. And you know what? When the city burned down or the 9.6 comes, we're all going to need each other. So, you know, in the words of Rodney King, can't we all just get along, right? That's where we come from. I don't.
It's a noble goal. I don't know that we'll ever get there anytime soon.
We have
Certainly
to keep
not with.
trying
No, I agree.
because all you need is love. There you go.
Another good title for a
That's
song.
a good one.
That's a good title for a song. So tell people where they can find you in case we have any potential clients watching, and also tell us if there are potential clients who want to work with you. So do you have criteria? Do you have an intake process? How do you decide on the products and the people that you actually will agree to work with?
Yeah, so they can go, if they're old school, they can go to our website. It's still distinctiveassets.com. If they're more visual, they can go to our Instagram, which is swag assets. And there's, links to press hits that we've done, throughout award season, examples of the products that we're working with, links to all the products, that kind of thing. So also, if you're looking for great gift ideas, you go there, you can just link directly and buy a bunch of stuff and live like a star and get lots of great vetted gifts. The process is pretty straightforward. Like we're pitched by brands, we're pitching brands, we offer category exclusivity. So once the hair care category is closed for an event, for example, it's closed. So it's a first come, first serve. If it's a resort, we offer geographic exclusivity. So for example, the Golden Door right here in Southern California is going to be doing an amazing package for Mother's Day. So that closes the Southern California destination spa category. But we're always looking for great things. We're always looking for unique gifts. There's no sort of metric or requirement of a price point. We've included everything from Altoids to $50,000 ski chalets in Switzerland and everything in between. And so sometimes it's the low price point stuff, to your earlier point of discovering something. It didn't have to be a $50,000 bottle of wine. It's wine that you can enjoy, that's affordable, that's a good table wine on a daily basis. So we're looking for everything. We're always looking for female-owned and minority-owned businesses, and we offer discounts for those. So if it's your first show with us, I offer a half-off discount if it's a Black-owned business or a minority-owned business. So we work with you, and we've got lots of different price points. So everything from a $1,500 entry point, which basically is like the delivery cost to 25 people that we handle for you, to 25,000 to be backstage at the Grammys, or even higher to be a sponsor for a satellite media tour. So we work with the L'Oreal Parises of the world, and we work with emerging beauty brands who are taking out a second mortgage on their home to launch their business.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Great.
Elizabeth's on fire today. She's like, do you accept fresh homemade desserts? She used to bake for movie shoots. Yeah, and I think you'd need a commercial kitchen probably, but hey.
Well, I personally accept them.
Yes.
I love sweets.
Elizabeth's on the other side of the country, so the FedEx might cost more than the eggs to go in the custard.
Probably, yeah.
That's
maybe
100% true. FedEx is so expensive these days.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, our regular viewers will know that we always finish with the Limerick lady here, we always finish our broadcasts to our special guests with a handwritten Limerick. So if you're sitting comfortably, then we shall begin. She has a little Irish, St. Paddy Day is coming, an Irish book out called Liverpool Limericks and Other Random Irish Haikus. So if anybody's looking for a St. Paddy's Day gift, head on over to Mrs. McCartney's Teas, as you can. And are you ready?
Yes.
A 1, 2, 3. At award shows where stars go to peak, gift baskets are crafted with chic. Lash Fary's keen eye makes celebrities sigh as they revel in swag that's unique. Ta-da!
Wow. Well, I certainly hope that with your technology prowess, you can send me a little clip of just that, because I want to post that for sure. That's adorable. and
Absolutely.
fabulous and such a lovely gift.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much.
much for joining us today. Everybody head over to distinctiveassets.com or at Swag Assets on Instagram. And if you have any brands that you love, recommend them to Lash. And we will see you guys all of a sudden. Next week, we will return with Susan Shumsky, who is an expert on the Beatles in India, has spent time with the Maharishi, and she'll be talking all about that. But once again, Lash Fary, founder of, I'm going to call it OGDA, Original Gangster Distinctive Assets. Because
I love that. That reminds me of what LL Cool J calls me, which is Grandmaster Lash.
Grandmaster Lash.
I
I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Okay, and let's talk about that next book.
Absolutely.
Let's
Let's talk
get
about the
going.
book and the fabulousgifts.com coming soon.
Let's definitely do that.
Okay.
That's coming soon to a credit card near everyone.
So lovely to see you, ladies. It's been too
Yeah,
long.
you too.
I know.
Delighted.
All right. Thanks for the time.
Okay, Livy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.